To create the pipes and vents for the environment, let's go ahead and go to another clean layer. I'll go to layer 5. And for the pipes, I think what we should do is use Blender's ability to extrude a cylinder or pipe along a path. So to begin, let's go to the Create tab and create a Bezier curve. If we click this, we can see that, let me zoom into this, we can see that it's just a single curve, a single path. And if I hit the Tab key, you can see that it's actually 2 points, one here and one here. And these points have these handles, these Bezier handles on them. If I select one and say I'll hit the G key and move this around, you can see that as I move it around, rotate it, and also scale it in and out here, or move it in and out towards the center of that handle, I can change the shape of the path. So this is what we'll use to create our pipes and tubes. So for this first one, I think I just want to make it a U shape or an arch. So I'm going to bring these up and kind of in line with each other. And to get a better sense of how it looks from all points of view, I'm going to go to the quad view by pressing Ctrl-Alt-Q, and that will allow me to see my object from the top, the front, the side, and also a perspective view. So I'm going to line these up now so they're all in one plane. And I'm going to move these around so it gives me a little bit more of an arch. And it looks to me in my reference images that these should come out a bit. And to get back out of my quad view, I'm going to press Ctrl-Alt-Q again. And now that I have this curve the way I want it, I can come over here in object mode to the Curves panel in the Properties window. And here's where I can actually create the pipe that's going to go around this curve. So down here under the bevel and in the depth field, I'll click and drag and increase this, and you can see how it creates at least half of the pipe. So I'll bring this up to maybe 0.2. And for the fill, I need to change this from half to full. So now you can begin to see that pipe taking shape. I'm going to increase the resolution so we get a little bit more of a circular pipe there. And maybe increase the depth just a little more. Something like that. Maybe 0.3. Now the wonderful thing about this is I can tab back into edit mode and I can select these handles and move them around and affect the pipe as it is with the geometry around it. Now currently this object is a curve still. It isn't a polygon object. And we're going to need polygon objects to take into Unity. If you hit the Tab key, of course, you can still see that we're controlling it by the Bezier curve. If I hit the Z key to go into wireframe, you can see the base geometry of what it might look like if we convert it to a polygon. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's come down and go to Object and convert to a mesh from a curve. And now you can see that curve has been changed to a mesh object. And if I hit the Tab key, you can see that there are the polygons of the object. So we can actually go to face mode and select polygons now, and that's what we want. Now we just need to create the connecting piece at the end of each of these sides. So I'm going to go to edit mode here, and I'm going to zoom in with the period key on the numpad. And what I'll do is just extrude this out. I'll just hit the E key and click, and then I'll press the S key to scale out. And I'll press E and then drag straight down. And we should probably bring it out about like that. Now I'd like to do the same thing on the other side of this object as well. What I can do is actually just use a mirror modifier to mirror this side over to the other side of the x-axis. This particular object happens to be aligned with the x-axis, so I'll use the mirror modifier to mirror it along that axis. So I'll go into face mode and I'll hit the Z key to go into wireframe. And I'm just going to press B and then border select this side right here. I'm going to delete it with the X key. Now I'm going to take this edge here and just move it back away from the center point. And then I will go to object mode, go to the modifiers panel here, and I'll choose add modifier and mirror. And if I choose clipping here, I can go into edit mode, and let's try this. I think I can select this edge and move it straight in until it merges together with the mirrored object. And also notice that I'm mirroring in the x-axis. If I change this to y or z, you can see it would mirror in another axis. But x is what we want here. So now I can go back into object mode and apply the modifier. And now I have my pipe all in one piece. So I'll go ahead and name this pipe 1. And let's try that on another layer. And let's work on one of these pieces that kind of flare out at the top. So I'll do the same thing again. I'll come in and I'll create a Bezier curve. And this time I will go into edit mode and bring one of the endpoints up. I'll move this one back in line with the x-axis here. And I'll begin adjusting these to try and get that curve of that particular pipe. Now if you need to add an extra point, you can always do that by subdividing the curve. So if I select this point and press the W on the keyboard, I can choose subdivide here in the specials menu. And that should give me an extra point here now that I can move around and adjust the curve with. So I have my curve now here. If I come over to the curves panel, and I'll begin increasing the depth here and change the fill from half to full, and also increasing the resolution a bit, maybe up to 2. I think I'll increase the depth just a little bit more, something like that. I think that's a good beginning to that pipe. Now to convert it to a polygon mesh, we'll just go to Object, Convert to Mesh, and now we should have a polygon object. I'd like a bit more of a flare here at the top, so I'll select that edge with Alt Select to select that whole edge loop. And if I scale that out, I just get this. What I can do is use my proportional editing tool right down here, and I'll choose Enable. And now if I hit the S key, you can see the area of influence for the proportional editing tool. And I'll maybe scroll that out with the mouse wheel about to there. And then I'll move the mouse out, and as I do, you can see it scale outward. Now that's not quite the effect I want there. I would like more of a flare to that. Let's see if I can get that by changing the fall off type here. So let me try a sharp fall off curve. Yeah, that's a little bit more what I'm looking for there. So I'll use this, and then I can adjust it by hand as well. Now if I turn this off and scale this out, I think I can get more of a flare to it. Yeah, something like that. I'll go ahead and add a connecting plate down here with extrude and scale and extrude and move. So that'll be where it'll connect to a building. And up here I should probably close this off as well. We probably won't ever see inside one of these things, but just in case, I'm going to select this edge and hit E and scale in. And then I'll hit E for extrude and pull down. And then I'll scale in. And we should probably go ahead and collapse or connect these. So I'll hit E and go straight to my merge tool with Alt-M and merge at center. So that closes that off. All right, so there is our pipe for the side of the buildings. I'll go ahead and call this pipe 2. And in the next video, we'll go ahead and create one of these large vents that we'll put up on top of the buildings.